Could the Tennessee Titans be shifting gears on their entire draft plan and going with a player that nobody thought of probably about 2 weeks ago? Welcome into Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper. An NFL insider, fantasy football guru Matthew Berry was talking to a bunch of people at the NFL Combine, and he thinks that Jeremiyah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, is the now favorite to go to the Titans at pick 4. And I'll say this before we get started. I'm a big guy that thinks running backs aren't really the biggest game changer in the NFL. So if you take a running back at the number 4 position, it would be absolutely absurd. I think there are specific playmakers that you could find in the NFL draft, whether that be a wide receiver, obviously a quarterback, but the Titans do not need that with Cam Ward. You have your edge rushers, and you could also find some linebackers and offensive linemen at pick 4. But running back, well, Jeremiyah Love is going to have to be a generational type back if they are going to take him at number 4. We'll break it all down and specifically exactly what Matthew Berry said. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys, who do you want the Titans to draft at the number 4 spot? Before pretty much this article came out, I was pretty much the standpoint that they were going to draft David Bailey, Arvell Reese, or Reuben Bain Jr., but it seems like they're shifting course specifically after the trade that we saw last week. But let me know down in the comments who you want to see get drafted at the number 4 spot. All right, let's go to what Matthew Berry said on exactly Jeremiyah Love going to them at the 4 spot. He said sometimes teams picking early will just put stuff out there to drive interest in trading up or as a smokescreen. So who knows? But as it was explained to me, Tennessee has Love as the best player in this draft, regardless of position. And given how many holes this team has, they just might take the best player available when it gets to them each round. Love will be a star for the Titans. A team that doesn't have many stars, and with a new stadium expected to open in 2027, star power will be needed. And giving a new head coach in Robert Saleh, who during his time in San Fran had seen firsthand what an elite running back can do for a team, and that running back is Christian McCaffrey, of course. Maybe Love to the Titans isn't as odd as you think first blush. Before we continue on with the video, here is what I'm looking to trade on Polymarket. For tonight's Detroit-Cleveland basketball game, Polymarket is giving Detroit a 59% chance to win over the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I think is fair. I mean, I think Detroit is the best team in basketball. They clearly are the best team. And for those reasons, I am taking Detroit at 59% to win this game. $100 wins you $169 if Detroit gets the W. Plus, with Polymarket, you can trade in and out of momentum shifts without getting blocked or penalized. With in-game trading, once the Pistons get up, I can either ride it all the way out or could sell early. For example, if you buy at 59% and sell at just 80%, you can snag a cool $136 payout. I'm keeping an eye on a first half run. Detroit usually gets on those hot runs to start the game, and they go up a lot of points, so that's when you want to get that there. You can't do this with a traditional sports book, so get started today. Polymarket is legal in all 50 states. Download the app now to get the top of the wait list. The only way to do that is by clicking my link in the comments and description of today's video. I say it's absurd. I think it's absolutely absurd to take a running back at the 4 position because I think there were more players available, but it's not that big of a surprise after the recent transactions for Tennessee. We knew during the NFL Combine that they were in the market for an edge rusher. You had to upgrade going from, well, at the beginning of the year, you had Draymond Jones, and then you went for Jihad Ward, and it didn't pan out so well. The Titans were bottom half of the league in sacks. But the Titans already pretty much got their edge rusher, and now you have 2 guys where it doesn't necessarily need for you to go and draft an edge rusher at the number 4 spot. If you don't remember, well, they had a trade going out last week, and it was a player-for-player trade with the New York Jets. Jermaine Johnson is going to the Tennessee Titans, reuniting with Robert Saleh during his time in New York, and then they traded away T'Vondre Sweat. So now the Titans are also looking for another defensive tackle to pair next to Jeffrey Simmons, but they have their edges. And if you look at this depth chart, you have Jermaine Johnson, and Arden Key and Jihad Ward were starters last year, but you could see from those stars that they are pending free agents. Then you have Femi Oladejo. You have Truman Jones, the guy who came over from the New England Patriots, Ali Gay, and then Jalen Harrell. So you kind of need some spots up there for some depth. but you have your two starters. You have Jermaine Johnson, who is going to be a star for this team, I believe, and you have Femi Oladipo. But when you have two starters and an edge rusher, do you really need someone to be drafting at 4? I don't think with what the Titans did in the 2025 draft, drafting Oladipo, that they're just going to give up on him after a single season. Because let's say if the Titans did draft Ruben Bain or Arvell Reese or David Bailey, Femi Oladipo just drops to the bottom of the depth chart. He would not see much playing time. And are you going to give up when you drafted him early in the second round? No. So I think they can improve the team in different aspects. I think that you can go out and get a different position at 4. And in this case, what Matthew Berry said, they're just going to go with the best player available, and the best player available to them is Jeremiah Love. And Salah has been open to just about anything when it comes to this draft. We know that he was very high on some of the edge rushers in this draft class, but he didn't necessarily say, we're looking for an edge. He said, we're going to go with pretty much anything. And his exact quote, he said, when you were heading into the draft, you never want to pigeonhole yourself or box yourself into a preconceived notation that you got to hit with this person. Every door for us is open with regards to who we take at the number 4 spot. So I want to ask you guys this. In his first year, with the moves that he's already made and the moves that are pretty much going to come with free agency next week, do you trust Robert Saleh? Do you trust what he's doing with this Tennessee Titans team? Let me know down in the comments section. Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no if you don't. So now I do think that Love would be a good fit for the Tennessee Titans. I think that they need to get as many playmakers as they possibly can. But the question is he a good fit? Well, the Titans, they use a lot of running backs in their type of system. I know that last year, the running backs were a huge part. Tony Pollard was a part of this team and still almost had 1,000 yards. Tyjae Spears is looking like he's going to become a number 1 running back in this league. But if you add Jeremiah Love, it is going to be scary. I mean, he just finished 3rd in the 2025 Heisman voting. He is a dog coming out of Notre Dame, and he has that burst of speed, but also the strength at 6 foot, 214 pounds. And you can see it just in his career stats with Notre Dame. Yeah, in 2023, he wasn't the main star, but you can see once he took over in 4 and in 5, over 1,000 yards, over 1,100, and the amount of touchdowns is just about crazy. A combined, do the math here, 40 touchdowns in 2 years as the starting running back for Notre Dame. And of course, one of those was a championship appearance back in 2024. And I think the Titans running back depth chart needs some improvement. You have your Tyjae Spears, who's going to be here, but Khalil Mullings isn't going to be your biggest running back. Julius Chestnut is still at the bottom of the depth chart. But then you have the questions with Tony Pollard. What is going to happen with Tony Pollard? Because he is rumored to be a cut candidate. They save about $9 million if they cut him. We know back in the offseason, they were trying to trade him at the trade deadline. Didn't work out, and now every single time we talk about Pollard, is he going to still be on this team? Questions may be had. We'll find out very much soon if he's going to be on this roster. But if they are looking to draft Jeremiah Love, he's gone. He's absolutely gone. And compared to Love, for Pollard, it would be an immediate upgrade. You find a guy in Jeremiah Love that can catch the ball out of the backfield and also have that burst of speed while also giving you that type of bulldozing back that you are looking for that most teams have. I know the Lions just got rid of David Montgomery, so they don't have that thunder and lightning, but there are a lot of teams in the NFL that are going with that spot. Tyjae Spears will still have that huge opportunity being that 3rd down running back for them, but Jeremiah Love immediately steps in and helps Cam Ward. And if you want to talk about the odds, well, according to a couple books out there, the odds makers, the Titans are going to be the number 1 spot to land Jeremiah Love at plus 200. So if that's 2-to-1 odds. You bet $10, you win 20. And that's a pretty high favor compared to the Saints or the Commanders at plus 275 and plus 370. I think with the defense and the way that defense is going to be constructed, and I think that the Titans are going to make a lot of moves in free agency on the defensive side. I think they're going to get a cornerback, and I think they are going to sign John Franklin Myers to get that guy paired next to Jeffrey Simmons. So now you have to look at the offense. Could you go with another wide receiver in free agency? I don't know. But I think that in this draft, you have to look at some offensive weapons because that should now be the number one priority that you're looking at. Because you are going to need to get some weapons for Cam Ward. Because if he doesn't have anybody to throw to, if he can't get that established run game going every single game, it is going to be a very, very long year. And I know the Titans, and I know Salah, and I know Mike Borgonzi are looking to be that team that goes from worst to first that we have seen every single year with one specific team. One team always does it, and maybe he thinks that it's going to be them this year, and that starts with drafting Jeremiah Love. So I think it would be a good pick. I still think it's crazy to draft a guy at 4, but if he's the best player available, you got to take a playmaker for that one because there's not really a specific wide receiver. There's not a specific offensive lineman. You could draft Caleb Downs, but with the rumors of his knees, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But let me know, are you drafting Jeremiah Love at the number 4 spot? You let me know. Type your D for draft or type your P for pass down in the comments section. And while you're down there, also, go hit that sub button. We got free agency right around the corner next Monday. And every single time the Titans make a move, we make a video for you. So don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now. And as always, tighten up.